Welcome to the Living Unoffended podcast with your host, Brant Hansen.
Glad you're listening to this. I am so thankful. It was actually Nietzsche, I think, weirdly, who coined the phrase a long obedience in the same direction. But I encountered that phrase from Eugene Peterson, who wrote about it like way back in the 80s. He wrote a book called, I think he called it that. I think it was called A Long Obedience in the Same Direction. But anyway, I bring that up to say, I feel like that's what we're doing together, like go in the same direction. If you're walking this out too, and that's incredibly encouraging to me and other people. Please know you're not alone in this thing that we're doing, trying to love our enemies, bless those who persecute us, live a life of radical forgiveness, just a posture of forgiveness towards people, letting go of our anger that could destroy us. And it's just encouraging me. You're on this path too. I want to talk about that it could destroy us bit, because I think that we got to camp out here every now and then. And something came up today in a conversation I thought was worth sharing. I have a couple of emails too I wanted to read to you. A reminder that this is sponsored by, and thank you to them, United Faith Mortgage. They're awesome. Ryan's the guy I've been working with. It's a family operation, but they help people across the country with mortgages and cash out refinances and whatnot. You can find them at unitedfaithmortgage.com. Can't recommend them enough. So, well, let me read you this first. I'll start with this email. Brant, I was inspired to write after hearing the story of the lady who shot and killed an intruder. That was on a previous podcast. My story is not as dramatic as that, but it definitely had an impact on my life. This happened before I read your books. I overheard a very disturbing conversation from my neighbor's house. This was late at night and summertime with all the windows open. I heard it clearly. I shared it with my husband, and we also talked to our pastor. After much prayer and stress, I reported the incident that I overheard to social services. After a short time, I received a phone call from my neighbor's wife. She told me she knew how to take care of her own problems. It's funny, all these years later, thinking about that phone call makes my pulse race. Sometime later, we received another phone call from the gentleman of the house, the one I actually reported about. He told me what a stupid woman I was. This began a years-long odyssey of very poor relations. This happened after years of living next door to each other. I would at times take care of their daughter. Time went on. I work in a hospital. The male neighbor was one of my patients. After approaching tentatively, I asked if I might help him. He agreed. I assisted him and started another odyssey. During the uncomfortable year, I had been praying over this neighbor. It really did change my heart. I got on his team, as you said so truly. Shortly after this encounter, I spoke to his wife, who told me there was nothing else the doctors could do. They were sending him home to die. His life was hard. He and his wife got very close over that time as he came to know the Lord. I spoke to his wife almost daily over that time. She now considers me a friend. He went home to be with the Lord 2 years ago. Thanks. That's from D. D, that's an awesome story. Because I love how you did the work while this fracture was happening. It wasn't when he came into the hospital. It was before that. You said you were praying for him and getting on his team, like rooting for him. It does change your heart. This is something we keep talking about. Like, you may not feel anything for this person because they're your enemy. They're doing stuff to threaten you. But when you do the work, you do the thing, you're set free yourself, but your heart turns toward them. And I think that has to be, it's incredibly pleasing to God, right? We're taking a page out of his playbook and doing the actual thing, right? We're running the play, not just taking the page. We're actually running the play and doing the thing. While we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. You're doing the work while he was a threat, after he had insulted you, before he got this diagnosis, before he showed up in your hospital. But the fact that you did the work ahead of time enabled you to respond the way you did. When he came in, you weren't ginned up and angry at him. You were for him. I just think that's a great example. Another email I wanted to read, and I'll tell you what happened to me today, because I thought this was really interesting. I got this email today, and then I also had a conversation related to it. And this is from Manya. She said, various hard things happened to me that made me very bitter in life. I'll spare you the details of my story in this email. But to make a long story short, about 4 years ago, my body kind of shut down without any change in my lifestyle habits. I exercised often, I ate well, etc. But seemingly overnight, I began to lose my hair and gain about 30 pounds unexplained in about a few months. Lost my ability to make normal life functioning decisions like going to the grocery store, etc. I ended up in bed shaking and heart racing, unable to take care of my family. It felt like my body was betraying me. I went to doctors and got many tests run, and nobody could find anything wrong with me. Meanwhile, I was almost debilitated. Then I started going to a Christian counselor, and after a few months of counseling, he had mentioned how he was reading a book with his son called Unoffendable. I went out and bought that book, and I read that book multiple times. I'm happy to say my life made a big turnaround. My health is improving, and I am able to participate fully in life now. Even went back for some continuing education and got some certifications I was wanting to have. Through reading your book, it became clear to me that I was walking around offended. The funny thing is, truly bad things have indeed happened to me, but through you expounding on Jesus' teachings, I was able to let go of all the bad stuff that had happened. I truly understand now that forgiveness does not mean you need to consent, buy into the idea that nothing offensive has happened, but I can choose to let go of those offenses in light of what Christ has let go of for me. I had truly and quite literally made myself sick, but by God's great mercy, health is returning to me, and I'm very thankful. And she's a mom with a bunch of kids. Thank you for that. Manya, I appreciate the honesty. I just had this conversation today. This was after church. We have this kind of back patio area where people just hang and have coffee and stuff. And I met this couple, hadn't talked to before, and they were awesome, smart people and stuff. And they've got little kids, and we talked about kids and stuff. And I mentioned our grandkids, which were right over there. I pointed at our two little granddaughters and stuff. They were like, "What?" And this is going to sound self-aggrandizing. Please know it's not. I hope it's not. I'm trying to make a point here because I think it's true. They were shocked that I was a grandparent. Like, you get grandkid? That's your daughter? Like, and my wife was sitting over there. So that's my wife. They said, "Well, you both look way too young." And that was a very kind thing to say. I said, "That's really kind." And they had just shared with me that they had just been baptized like 2 weeks ago. And this woman's from England, super smart. And she said her family had nothing to do with Christianity growing up. So this was all new to her, but she had a peace in her life. She said she was like sick with anxiety and anger and stuff. And now she's not. And I thought that was so cool. But I told her, I said, I really do believe that the way of Jesus is so genius that it shows up in ways you don't expect. For instance, you wear that anger and that anxiety over time. And so if you don't have that, you will look younger generally. That's a very real thing. And I said, I just got to tell you, I think that's part of just showing us again how this way that you've now embarked on is such a genius way to live, that you don't have to have that. Knowing that you're safe with him, you can actually trust him, knowing that you need to forgive. You've got to get past your anger, drop it as fast as you can in light of what God's done for you. It's just a healthier way to live. She's like, "Yes, totally. That's the way I understand it." Just a genuine conversation. And again, you may look at me and go, "You don't look young." That's fine. I don't care. She thought so. So, hey, I do think it's related. I know it is, actually. I just asked on Google here, what does high cortisol do to your body? Well, here you go. This is what happens when you keep anger in your system. And you may already know this, but it's worth reviewing. Consistently high cortisol shifts your systems out of balance, triggering a range of physical and mental changes. Prolonged elevation can cause weight gain, especially around the midsection, high blood pressure, weakened immunity, difficulty sleeping, brain fog, muscle weakness, and anxiety. The body alters how it stores energy, leading to fat accumulation around the abdomen, face, around your face too, and the back of the neck. Skin issues. Skin becomes thin and fragile, bruising very easily with slow wound healing and the appearance of large purple stretch marks. Muscle weakness. Muscle tissues break down to provide quick energy, causing notable weakness, especially in the upper arms and legs. Again, this is all downstream from not letting go of anger. You're going to have high cortisol because it's a response to threat, but you're keeping it in your system. So you've got muscle weakness, you got skin issues, weight gain, bone loss. Prolonged exposure increases your risk of osteoporosis and bone fractures. Cardiovascular strain. It can cause fluid retention and elevated blood pressure. Sleep disturbances. High cortisol wreaks havoc on your sleep-wake cycle, leading to chronic insomnia. Cognitive impact. You may experience brain fog, impaired memory, and difficulty concentrating on making decisions. I'm laughing to myself because I already mentioned brain fog. And so the fact that it came up twice, I did remember saying it before you're like, impaired memory, you just said that twice. Mood imbalances. It is frequently linked to heightened irritability, anxiety and depression. Hormonal imbalances. In women, it can cause irregular periods or stop them entirely. In men, it can cause lower libido and fertility issues. Blood sugar spikes. Cortisol triggers the release of stored glucose, which can cause elevated blood sugar and increase the risk of diabetes. Weakened immunity. While short-term stress boosts immunity, chronic elevation, staying angry, suppresses your immune response, leaving you more vulnerable to infections. So the way of Jesus, again, is the best way to live. It's a healthier, it's freedom. When we actually do the things he said to do, I mentioned this last time about like the truth will set you free. Well, that's predicated on something. He talks about if you do what I'm telling you, you abide in me, then you'll be my disciple, and then you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. It's actually living this thing out. And what's wonderful about this too, you could teach people this, not just yourself, right? But other people in your circle. You can equip them and as yourself, like we need to do this. We need to actually follow the way of Jesus. It is such a gift to people to teach them this stuff because it frees them too. It lengthens their life. If you have to sell them on, hey, you'll look younger, go for it because there's something to it. Like it's not, I'm not making that up. There's something about the health factor that's very significant. Jesus is a genius. I keep saying it. So good. So again, thanks for being on the walk with me on this stuff. And I want to mention again, the Living Unoffended book comes out June 9th. You can pre-order it if you want. If you don't want the book, we can still totally be friends. Let's just do this thing. If you've got your own story about like applying this in life and how this has changed things for you or however it's changed you, I'd love to hear it. If you've had to practically apply this and you've been doing it, I would love to hear the story. My email is just brant@branthansen.com. It's Brant. There's no D in it. And then the Hansen is Hansen. So brant@branthansen.com. I'd love to read it. Have mercy on me if you can keep it shorter rather than longer. It's awesome. But even if it's longer, I'll read it. Thank you again for walking this road with me. And by the way, if this is helpful to you at all, please share this with people. It'd be wonderful. And if you rate it, like on the podcast, whatever platform, leave a nice review or something. I guess that helps people find it too. So again, thank you so much.
You've been listening to the Living Unoffended podcast with Brant Hansen. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And if you'd like more information on Brant Hansen, his book Unoffendable, and more, go to branthansen.com.